we're gonna hit on news because it's been an interesting week of news. Number one, I know Alex sent me this story, and Ed had posted it on his timeline. I swear I saw it at first. I was like, "What Ed had talking about today?"
Mm.
Is it crazy that 101 Ed, get ready, you're coming on the show, buddy. Gundam
He's gonna
Evolution.
be the actual the only
It's
host.
gonna
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Gundam Evolution was announced, and this is actually ironic. Like, oddly enough, I was watching the Evo side tournament for um Gundam Extreme Versus, which is a game I actually really like, and
Wait, which
I've
version?
played.
Which version was it? Like Gundam Extreme Maxi Boost, whatever the fuck? Because it's like,
Whatever the most
yeah,
recent one is, that was
yeah.
the one. And in the evening, I had post this, and I'm looking. I'm like, what am I looking at? I thought it was gonna be like Gundam Breaker, which
Mm.
is a free to play game that they have out. And then I'm looking at this mug. I'm like, he's like, his tweet's like, oh, it's Gundam Overwatch. I'm looking at this crap. I'm like, oh, it's Gundam Overwatch.
It
What
kind of
is
is,
this?
yeah.
It is not kinda. It's Gundam Overwatch. I got like flashbacks of actual Overwatch, even like to the level. Even the way the level was laid out felt like Overwatch. But I mean,
Yeah, I
like,
mean, it
yeah.
kind of does, yeah.
But what? Because I know you. I think you were genuinely excited about this because I saw your tweet
I wouldn't say
and I
like
couldn't tell.
genuinely excited. I'm like intrigued, I guess. Yeah, I'm
Intri-
intrigued.
this game is coming out on PC. I know there's a closed beta that's happening in Japan next month in
Yeah,
August.
yeah, you have to like sign up for it right now. They're only taking 5,000 applicants. So
Did you sign up?
I didn't, but I have like another week to sign up.
No,
So I'm not.
yeah. Just go ahead and sign up because it's the same. It's the as long as you have your account for Bandai Namco, which you do because for Blue
Oh, because
Protocol.
Blue Protocol, yeah,
Yep,
because
yep.
yeah, we were the beta.
It's a button click. Let's log in and that's it.
Oh
So
shit, yeah,
it's really simple.
yeah.
But yeah, Gundam Evolution. There's not anything that they've really said about it. I think there's supposed to be a stream by the time that you're listening to this here in Japan. It's either the 20th or the 22nd or something, where they'll be doing maybe I guess more of a playthrough. There are some cool ironically, there weren't a lot of Gundams in this.
Well, not yet. I mean, I suspect it's gonna go like the route of most like free to play games. Well, I mean, most. So Apex is free to play, and they do a trickle of new like legends like every season, right?
Right.
Overwatch is technically not free to play, but once you buy, like once you pay for the game once, you're kind of like secured, like you're locked into all their content updates, all their maps with the characters, and they do a trickle of new characters like what every year, maybe I don't know.
Oh no, they
Are they done?
actually
Like,
they're done. They're done for now. Yeah, they've been
but
done
like
for about
what was
2
the
years.
pace previously? Like it was once every couple months or
I felt like there was at least 2 a year, maybe even
okay,
3.
yeah. So they trickle. I mean, it's the same rate as Apex. Apex is like 2 a year, something like that, maybe 3 a year,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And then Siege will also do a trickle of new characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I suspect when Gundam like Evolution like launches, it'll probably like have 8 maybe Gundams, and then I suspect we'll have a trickle of new ones. So
Yeah, it's an interesting roster that they chose to unveil because we only have the RX-78 2, the OG Gundam, Armoros Gundam. I think that's actually the one after the original series when it gets a little bit upgraded. And then we had Gundam, we had the Barbados from Gundam. Gosh, why can't I think of the Orphans?
oh wait, which
It's
one
actually called Orphans something.
Oh, Iron Blooded Orphans, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
With I think that's Mizuki
Yep.
is his name. Is his Gundam. So those are the only 2 Gundams. After that is pretty much I wouldn't call them the fodder, but they are the earlier Gundams. We got the tank, and then we've got a couple of other just those Gundams like the support units that would appear in the series. So that's why I was kind of curious. I think Char's Gundam might have been in there, or Char's mobile suit. Sorry,
Right,
not
because
Gundam.
it's not a Gundam.
It's
Yeah.
not a Gundam.
Yeah.
It's a mobile suit. But Doms, the Doms are in there. So there's Doms are great, but not that
I bet
Dom.
you anyone listening to podcasts, like longtime listeners who actually just never, they're probably just like, what in the fuck are they talking about? Like, what is happening? Yeah.
It's really interesting because looking at the gameplay breakdown, I'm curious to see how much they're going to change in terms of not just the UI but some of the moves. As you can see, like freaking Barbados is Reinhardt. Like parkour, he's doing Reinhardt moves.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite thing, like I saw this trailer 2 times or 2. Well, I mean, now it's just on repeat on the podcast.
Yeah, now it's on loop.
But like, if you watch the footage, don't look at the action. Look at the HUD. Like, look at when the
Yep.
abilities are triggered, and look at when the ults
Yeah.
are triggered. Yeah,
Yeah. You're looking at the if we just look at those two
yeah.
elements, it's and I saw a Japanese tweet where somebody was like, is this okay? Kore daijoubu desu ka? Sokuri. Like
Well, I
it
mean,
looks
like
exactly
it
like
definitely, yeah, it definitely looks like
this is
Overwatch
Widowmaker's
for sure.
scope. Even the way that the crosshair and just how like the only thing it's missing is that little red skull that pops up and goes
Oh, when
ding
you do a kill.
when you do
Yeah,
a
you know
kink.
what? When I first saw this trailer, my initial reaction was like, this is what happens when like Mugen, like for fighting games, right?
Right, right, right,
This
right.
is this is like, what if there was like a shooter Mugen and you could just put whatever you want here, and this is the result.
That
You put a
yeah,
bunch of put a bunch of
it's crazy
Gundams.
because Gundams
Yeah.
don't move or mobile suits. They don't have a high mobility on them to just kind of
Well, I don't know, because that's a really good
to
question.
do
Actually,
first person shooting. To do first person shoot like it's kind of I don't think there's been a Gundam first person shooter. They're all third person action
I
games, if I'm
don't
correct, right?
think there's been a first-person shooter Gundam, but yeah, I would say like in lore, in universe, Gundams do move fast, don't they? Like in the space battles.
When they get to space, yeah, it depends on the Gundam, but for
Yeah,
the most part, they have to get to space before they can actually
like move
maneuver.
fast, right?
Yeah, yeah. Other than that, even in Gundam Versus, while they're moving fast, the way that they shoot is you shoot in between your movements, so you're not complete. You have a lock on, but your shots don't track. So it's going to be interesting. It's I guess this is just going to play just like a first person shooter, but a little bit slower, maybe. I
Yeah,
don't
we'll
know.
see, we'll see. But like, I mean, I don't think Bandai Namco's ever made a shooter, right?
That's an even better point. I don't know. I don't think there's been a Bandai Namco shooter.
Yeah,
Someone correct us if
exactly.
we're wrong. We're just now getting an MMO eventually with Blue
Yep.
Protocol. It seems like they're really branching out, especially after Code Vein's success. They've been doing a lot of
Stuff.
updating. Yeah,
Sure.
even the new Tales of Arise, it's been looking better and better every time they show it.
But
Uh,
do you trust? Here's the thing. What's up, Dragon? Um, do you trust Bandai Namco to make a good shooter? Because I gotta admit, like when Blue Protocol was announced and I saw the footage of Blue Protocol, I was like, I don't trust Bandai Namco to make a good MMO. And of the two betas that I played at Blue Protocol, I'm like, okay, I'm actually really impressed. This is actually really good. So I don't know if Bandai Namco is going to surprise me in the same way with Gundam Evolution. Like
uh,
I don't know if I'll be like,
Here's what I'm
hey,
worried
this
about
is
more than
good.
anything because I know with their arcade titles they do an amazing job with it and what I'm worried about because Gundam games lean on two things. They're either super arcadey or they're super sim. And
Yeah, 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 yeah,
this is
yeah,
a
exactly.
mix.
Yeah, yeah,
This is
yeah.
arcade and I assume they're going to have a little bit of sim in there as well to be kind of faithful to each of the Gundams or Mobile Suits playstyles. Uh what I'm worried about is frame rate. Like Gundam Breaker suffers from kind of frame rate issues. Like I don't
Yeah,
that's what I'm worried about. Like is this going to
sure.
run smoothly?
And this is
And
like this is a shooter, and the expectations for shooters are totally different. Like a shooter, an arcade shooter, not arcade shooter, like a competitive shooter needs to be minimum 60 locked, like minimum,
right,
right?
right. It
It's
needs
like
to
a
be
fighting
locked.
game. Like you absolutely cannot have frame drops in a fighting game. Like you can't. Like
You don't want that.
yeah, you cannot have frame drops in a fighting game. It's unacceptable. It makes it unplayable, right?
Pretty much,
Um,
pretty much.
in a shooter, you could have frame drops. It just lends itself to a very unsatisfactory experience. But
Mm-hmm.
like the
Mm-hmm.
expectations needs for a shooter definitely like 60 minimum, like locked. For Gundam Breaker and that kind of stuff, like I can maybe like if the frame drops, it's like kind of shitty. It
Yeah.
is shitty, but I
It,
don't think it's like is it completely detrimental in the same way that like a frame drop in a shooter would be? Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Who knows if it's gonna be that bad? Because I mean, I've honestly, when I played Overwatch, we never had any issues. I've never had any issues. Even in, I guess what we haven't talked about is even if there's gonna be any issues with the net code, like
Oh
I,
yeah, yeah. Because we just don't
this
know. Like Bandai Namco's like never made a shooter, so like it's a big
yeah,
question.
it's like
Yeah,
my first shooter, and I know a lot of people want to dog on him for the Overwatch inner, the UI.
Mhm.
Don't worry about that. That's a placeholder. There, that's what they're going with
It's
to.
probably a placeholder. We'll see. I don't
I
know.
assume it. I assume it's a placeholder.
Yeah,
There's not. I don't even think there's a date for when this game is actually
like
coming out,
officially launching. Yeah.
officially launching. I'm on the website now, and uh, yeah, I mean we've got the Turn A Gundam is in there. I think that yeah, here's the lineup of Gundams. We've got the original Gundam. We got a Zaku 2. No one ever underestimates that Zaku 2. Don't underestimate it. It will mess you up. And that is yeah, that is the Sazabi, which is Char's Gundam mobile suit. All right, and then all the rest of them: GM snipers, your Dom trooper, the
Oh
gun
man,
tank.
it's actually wait, it's a lineup of 12, so it is 6v6, so it's like
It
someone has to
some
it's one of these per game.
yeah yeah. It's one of these the Pale Rider, which I can't remember
Yeah.
which
Whoa,
mobile suit
oh
that
man, that's
one's from.
insane. Like what if you're just like, I hate the gun tank. I don't want to be the but someone has to be the gun tank.
Someone has to be the gun. So I
Because
feel like
it's
they have to have
6v6, yeah?
they need to have more
They need
characters
more.
in
Yeah,
their
they need more.
roster.
Yeah, they way
Uh,
need way more.
I want to say Matthias is from Gundam Z from Zeta. I might be off. Someone will have to help me. Some of these I don't actually know. Turn A is still my favorite Gundam. I want to know what they're going to do with Turn A. That gun. Have you seen Turn A?
No, actually,
The
I haven't seen
gun
that many Gundams. No, yeah.
that gun that he has or that Turn A has, it is it's a nuke. It's no joke. It's a nuclear bomb.
Oh, it is. Yeah, you know that's
It's just a
hilarious.
straight freaking nuclear bomb,
Wait,
and the entire point
how old is Turn A? Is that
uh,
like early 90s or what?
I think Turn A might be early '90s or so. It's one of my favorite Gundams. It's technically supposed to be the last Gundam in terms of
Like,
storyline. It's the very last Gundam.
oh, it's 1999, so it's
Um,
yeah, okay.
but yeah, yeah,
Was when
I
it
want
came
to
out.
know.
I mean, yeah.
I want them to have that. I want them to have like my other picks. Of course, the Gundam Wing series. A lot
Hmm.
of people in the U.S.
You're
That's
familiar with Wing, right?
are
That's
for super
yeah,
familiar with Wing. And that's what makes those versus games so good is they have a huge selection from G Gundam to all of these Zeta Gundam, even all the side stories. I mean, all the main characters and the
yeah.
main enemy units are all there. So if they can do that, that'll be they've got a huge roster to choose from.
I feel like either they have to add more Gundams after beta. I mean, for closed beta, this is it for
Oh
closed
yeah,
beta. I think yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I think after closed beta, they need to add more Gundams, or they need to make it so like you can more than one person can choose, for example, turn A in a match. You know what I mean? Because because I can imagine like let's say you hate half of those Gundams and you just don't want to play those Gundams, but if it's 6v6, there's only 12 Gundams in the game. Like it's only one player per mobile suit represented, basically, right? You can't double up.
right, right, right. So it's gonna. I think this event is actually on the 17th, which already happened. Looks like
Oh
they
yeah,
might.
shit.
It might have just been a talk interview.
I think it was. I saw some tweets. I think from I just saw some screenshots from the stream, and basically talking about like why a shooter, and then
What? Yeah, why a shooter? This is
I didn't watch it, but I
it is.
presume yeah.
I gotta say, it's been an interesting time in the Japanese game developing kind of in some of these companies with we got chaos, we got Final Fantasy, the Stranger of Paradise, which is not par for Square at the moment. It's I don't want to say these are risk. I think they're going to definitely have a lot of people who come into these games, but these are things that they're original IPs, and we don't see a lot of original IPs that often. Bandai Namco with I want to say maybe the most original IPs out of Scarlet Nexus, Code Vein. That's two within the past
Like 2 years, yeah.
2 years, and it's really good to see new original games being developed, even if they might look like something we know. Blue Protocol is that's a new
Yeah.
IP as well. Bandai Namco, what are you doing? What are you doing? Not
Well,
making Xenosaga.
yeah. I got it. I mean, I'm curious. I'm legitimately curious to see how Gundam Evolution is going to play out. I don't, because the thing about Gundam Evolution is that it's already extremely niche. It's Gundam, right?
Well, Gundam, I think, has a huge following, but
Yeah, but like, here's the what's the Venn diagram of like likes Gundam but also likes Team Shoot? Do you know what I mean? Like, who's in the middle
that
of
likes
that?
team shooters. I
Yeah.
feel like if the people who are playing Gundam Breaker, I think they're going to try to move them over to this game because that was a team based third person shooter. No, that game is a third person shooter. It's a third person shooter if I remember.
Yeah, basically, and then you
Uh,
like make your parts and kind
yeah.
of like make your garage kit.
I mean, and there's a lot of kids who are into Gundam here in Japan. I don't know. I think that it'll do fine. I don't think it's too much of a niche game.
I just don't think it's certainly not going to topple Siege anytime like or anything like that.
No,
It's
no,
not gonna beat Siege or Overwatch 2, Apex or anything like that, right?
no.
Well,
And
Apex isn't a team shooter.
well, here's but when you
Siege and Overwatch, yeah.
but when you go and you talk about these competitive team-based games, you got to have friends. You got to have matchmaking. You've got to have, and when I say friends, I mean like you don't want to be on that team with the random, especially in a game where you have 5 other teammates. You don't want
Right.
you want your friends there to help you and communicate,
Or really good matchmaking, like
or
Siege, for
really good
example.
matchmaking.
Yeah, like Siege, for
Exactly,
example. Yeah,
exactly.
like, but
Because
I
if this
feel
is like Overwatch, these games are going to be 15 to 20 minutes. That's
yeah,
a long investment, and
and like,
yeah.
oh, man, there's so many questions. Like, how are they gonna introduce a ranked mode? You know what I mean? Like, how are
Well,
they gonna
yeah,
keep people
there's
playing
definitely going to
stuff?
be a rank. There has to be a ranked mode for sure. We
Yeah.
get silent like for sure when it comes
Well, I
out.
mean, I trust that Bandai Namco, if they're going to be making a shooter, I trust that the people behind the game are like, okay, let's take a look at what are the top team games on the market right now. Like, what do people like about them? What do these games do similarly?
Mhm.
And what can our game do that's different? And I trust if you're making a video game, this is what goes on in your meetings, right?
Right, right. And I mean, we
So
already have the kind of Overwatch interface in a little bit of the level design there. That's what's going to be the most interesting thing right there. Uh, we know that they're at least probably paying attention to Overwatch. Overwatch is one of the few well, I guess hero shooters.
yeah,
Uh,
honestly, the only thing I can think of right now is Overwatch and Siege, and then probably
right.
some other free-to-play ones like Paladins.
And
Yeah,
and Paladins, right?
yeah,
Paladins. Uh, what would be and what makes and breaks these games? They did say that the modes that they do have 3 modes. One of them is basically point capture, and then one of them is the kind of evolution. I forgot what they call that mode in Overwatch, where you capture a point and you move
and
on
then
to the next. It's like an
a
escort
target, right?
payload, right?
Yeah.
Um,
You capture a point and you
and
move the
move to the
payload,
next.
right?
So
Yeah,
those
yeah,
modes are here. What makes
yeah.
those modes really unique? Not unique, but really uh not special. I'm trying to think, but the map design is so important in Overwatch. The way those maps are designed, where people can the sniper points for Widowmaker or whoever, the amount of airspace for even Diva to just fly up and do her bomb. If you know, there's a variety of those the maps from outside to inside, how they transition, hallways and corridors meant for certain characters but not for other characters. You get a roadhog in a character in a corridor, you're gonna get hooked. You're gonna get drawn in, and it's like a trap. Like you might not want to walk past that door. You might want to be cautious of it. So it's gonna be interesting how these Gundam abilities or these mobile suit abilities combined with the map design actually, like if they can pull that off. If they pull that off, then they're fine.
Hmm.
But there's gonna be I think maybe we just have to have our expectations set low and hope that it's a game that they're heavily invested in. They want to make it an esport. We've seen this trend in Japan. We want an esport. Virtua Fighter 5 coming back to be an esport.
Yeah, I think the best way to go about it is to be cautiously optimistic. I mean, it's just like as a casual FPS like player, I'll check it out at launch and maybe close beta.
Hmm, hmm.
But I'm not like gonna be like unless it's like so good. I'm like, okay, guys, I'm never
If it's really
playing.
good, I
Yeah.
want to play because Gundam's fun. Gundam's hype, man.
Yeah, I just want. I'm man. I mean, obviously they probably haven't even figured it out yet. But like, if it's free to play, they need to like monetize it somehow. Like, oh, there's gonna be a battle pass. What would the battle pass be like, or something like that?
That's
Yeah,
actually really interesting because, like you said, Overwatch has it's straight up pay
yeah.
first,
You
and you
buy
don't.
Overwatch,
Yeah,
and then you're locked into all of their updates, and
you
then they
buy
have
loot
loot box. They
boxes.
have loot
That's it. That's
boxes. Yeah,
you buy loot boxes essentially.
yeah,
But now it is very common, especially with I mean any game, and it doesn't even matter if it's a card battler or anything. They all have battle passes now.
yeah.
That's
I
more
mean,
the
to kind
format
of like just
plus
get
loot
like
boxes.
Genshin technically has like this a similar thing to a battle pass as well.
Yep. Destiny too. If you
Yeah.
play that, each of the seasons essentially acts as a battle pass. with the rewards that if you just play a little bit, it's kind of like doing daily challenges. So
And then it
it's
like pays for itself, but
and
only
it
if you play daily, right?
right.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be we're gonna keep our eyes on this, and we'll let you all know what we think about it for sure. Because it's hopefully we both get into the beta, or one of us gets into it. Uh, May our Blue Protocol magic rub off on this
Yeah,
game.
I'm surprised actually because I think we both got into both betas for Blue
Both
Protocol.
betas,
What was
both
the
yep.
what was the participant count for that? Like I think 5,000 for Gundam is actually really small. I think Blue
It's
Protocol
really
was
small.
10,000 for Blue
I feel like it
Protocol.
was like 10K or something. I feel like it was a little bit more.
Yeah, but we both got in for Blue Protocol, which is actually really cool. So I'm happy about that. And we were allowed to like stream it and that kind of thing. So
It was yeah. They're definitely doing a lot of things to help with if you want to play and stream. I think Bandai Namco has been doing some good stuff.